Today we are diving into the 2020 movie Beasts Clawing at Straws. It kicks off with Moran, a young woman working as an escort in a bar to make back the money she lost in the stock market. It also keeps her away from home, where her abusive husband waits. One day the bouncer Carp asks her to handle a particularly difficult client, leading her to meet Jean, a young Chinese man who humorously mentions he fled his country after killing someone. They connect, exchange numbers and begin seeing each other outside of her job. After spending the night together, Jean notices the bruises from Moran's abusive husband and remarks that abusers hardly ever change, sharing that his father used to beat his mother. Jean urges Moran to stop making the same mistake and end the abuse. Faced with the potential life insurance payout from her husband's policy, Moran agrees to share the money with Jean if he kills her husband. She provides Jean with specific instructions on where and when to find him. On a rainy night, Jean waits outside the bar where Moran's husband hangs out, then runs him over. Jean drives the body to a forest outside the city to bury it. When he calls Moran to report the deed, she is furious. They had planned to stage it as a car accident, but without a body it could take years for her husband to be declared missing and for her to claim the insurance. Things take a turn when Moran's husband unexpectedly comes home, revealing Jean killed the wrong man. Moran tries to reach Jean but finds him at her door, ready to celebrate their success. She drags him out for a private conversation and orders him to get rid of the car and return to China, promising to join him later after settling her affairs. Sometime later, Moran is too injured to work, but a client specifically requests her services and refuses to take no for an answer. Suddenly, Jan, the bar's boss, steps in. When the client slaps Jan for siding with Moran, she responds by smashing a bottle over his head, then takes Moran to her office. Jan offers Moran money to stay in a hospital for a few days to rest, recognizing her situation as Jan's late husband had also been abusive. Jan tells Moran she can come to her for help at any time. After Moran recovers, she visits Jean, who looks ill and says he's haunted by the man he killed. He is tempted to turn himself in, but Moran convinces him to stay quiet, despite his promise to not implicate her. Moran takes Jean back to the forest to hold a memorial for the man, hoping it will give him closure. When Jean still hears voices and threatens to go to the police, Moran runs him over with her car. Shaken by her actions, Moran gets a call from Jan, who checks in on her absence from work. Jan agrees to help, and while Moran waits, she buries Jean's body. Jan arrives and drives Moran to a scrapyard, paying workers to destroy Jean's car. Back at Jan's place, she offers Moran advice on how to kill her husband without getting caught. They come up with a plan that makes the death look like a result of depression and alcohol abuse, requiring Moran to cremate the body once the investigation allows. As the investigation drags on, Moran gets a shark tattoo similar to Jan's. When the insurance money finally comes through, Moran packs it in a brown bag, leaving a small sum as a thank you for Jan. They toast to Moran's new life, realizing the man Jean killed had been a criminal. But soon, Moran begins to feel dizzy and realizes too late that Jan has poisoned her drink. Hours later, Moran wakes up tied to a table, in her underwear. Jan is there, upset that she didn't use enough sedatives to keep Moran unconscious. Jan starts to dismember Moran's body with a power saw. Meanwhile, Tae-young, a customs officer, meets Mr. Park, a crime lord he owes money. Mr. Park threatens to kill him if the debt isn't paid soon. Tae-young can't pay back the money because his ex-girlfriend, Yan, took everything and disappeared months ago. He convinces Mr. Park to give him one more week, promising a plan. Tae-young intends to use his job to help a high school friend, Oh Dongpal, escape the country in exchange for a large payment. He ropes in Carp, Mr. Park's distant cousin and henchman, for help. Carp hesitates but agrees after Tae-young promises him a cut and reminds him of his gambling debts. On the night they are supposed to meet Dong at the port, they can't find him. While Tae-young waits in his car, Mong-gu, a police officer who knows him, approaches and questions him about Dongpal. They go to a restaurant where Mong-gu tells Tae-young that Dongpal is a wanted man for various scams, but Tae-young plays dumb. Mong-gu also asks about Tae-young's relationship status before taking a selfie and leaving Tae-young with the bill. The next day, Mr. Park calls Tae-young, demanding answers about the plan that Carp revealed. Tae-young initially denies everything, but when Mr. Park threatens Carp, Tae-young admits the truth. Mr. Park insists on getting a share of the money, forcing Tae-young and Carp to double down on their hunt for Dongpal, or face serious consequences. Tae-young asks Carp to tail Mong-gu for clues. A few days later, Tae-young comes home to find Yan cooking dinner. Furious about her previous disappearance, Tae-young confronts her, but Yeon offers no explanation, saying only that she had things to handle. Despite his anger, Tae-young ends up in bed with her. Afterward, Yeon asks him to help her leave the country using Moran's passport, but Tae-young refuses, saying he won't be fooled by her again. Their argument is interrupted when Mong-gu arrives with food as a repayment for the meal Tae-young had bought him. Mong-gu is surprised to see Yeon, as Tae-young had claimed he was single. As they eat, Tae-young ignores calls from Karp and asks Mong-gu about updates on Dongpal. Mong-gu says Dongpal has been arrested and that they're now investigating a dismembered female body. Mong-gu shows a picture of a shark tattoo on one of the legs, making Tae-young nervous as it suggests Yeon could be involved in a murder. After they run out of beer, Tae-young steps out to call Karp. He doesn't know that Mr. Park's men are tailing Karp. When Tae-young gets back to his apartment, he finds Yeon standing over Mong-gu's body, having killed him for touching her. Tae-young cleans up the mess while Yeon hides the body in the bathtub. Then he gets an idea. After Yeon steps out of the bathroom, Tae-young knocks her out with a pan, steals her bag, and bolts out with her car keys. Yeon wakes up to find Mr. Park and his men inside her apartment. To save herself, she calls Tae-young, proving to Mr. Park that Tae-young has the money she promised. Realizing Yeon was telling the truth, Mr. Park sends his men to catch Tae-young before he escapes the country. Tae-young stops at a local sauna, puts the money in a locker and asks the clerk, young man, for cigarettes. When young man refuses to get them for him, Tae-young goes to the convenience store himself. On his way back, he spots Mr. Park's men and makes a run for it, but is hit by a truck. Later, young man, who's closing the sauna, finds the money bag in the locker and hides it in the storage room to keep it from being discovered. At home, young man is stressed by his Alzheimer-stricken mother and his wife's troubles. His daughter calls to say she couldn't get a student loan and has to take a break from school. The next day, young man is late for work, earning a reprimand from his harsh young manager, who threatens to fire him. He's also denied time off to visit his injured wife who was hurt by his mother. By the time he reaches the hospital, his daughter has arrived, and his wife informs him that she can't handle his mother any longer. With mounting stress, young man sleeps in one day. When he calls his manager to say he might be late, he's immediately fired. His mind goes straight to the money bag, so he races to the sauna in the pouring rain on his bicycle. At the sauna, a new employee is on duty. Young man claims he's there to get his belongings and retrieves the money from the storage room. As he tries to leave, he's stopped twice, first by two officers showing him a photo of Mong-gu, and next by his old manager, who doubts the bag is his and demands to see inside. Young man refuses and, no longer employed by him, stands his ground. After escaping, he hides the money at home in an old box containing his late father's things, including some kitchen knives. The next day, young man learns his wife has taken a job due to his unemployment. He suggests reopening their restaurant with the money, but she refuses. Later, young man's former manager asks to meet at a cafe, claiming to want to settle unpaid wages to avoid legal trouble. Realizing it's a ruse, young man sees the manager is sitting with Yeon and Mr. Park, who pose as cops to question him about the bag. Although he considers denying everything, he knows his manager has recognized the bag, so he insists it's just a similar model. Skeptical, the manager lets young man leave, unaware that he's being followed. Back home, young man takes out the money, but Yeon and Mr. Park break in and seize the bag. Yeon quickly notices some cash is missing, and young man explains that he used part of it for his daughter's tuition. At that moment, young man's mother barges in and attacks Yeon. Park knocks them both out with an iron, but as he's distracted, Yeon grabs the kitchen knives and kills him. Yeon sets the house on fire and leaves. Park's right-hand man finds Park's body in the burning house. Young man wakes up and manages to drag himself and his mother out. They stand outside watching the flames. His mother tries to comfort him, telling him as long as he has his limbs, he can start over. At the airport, with 30 minutes before her flight, Yeon stashes the money in a locker and heads to the bathroom. Park's right-hand man tracks her down, rejects her offer to bribe him, and fatally stabs her. As he leaves, the murder is caught on security cameras. The next day, the footage airs as part of a police investigation. A cleaning lady is assigned to clean the blood in the bathroom and finds the locker key Yeon dropped. Opening the locker, she discovers the money bag, takes it, and slips away unnoticed. That's where the movie ends. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more movie recaps.